here with Lucy.
Hello, friend.
Hey.
Hi.
And we're joined by a very blurry background, Adil.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, basically Discord picked up the NVIDIA broadcast from before, and I was too lazy to switch to Nest blur background, and I don't think it really matters.
Nah.
It makes my room look slightly more
fine.
tidy.
Only a little. Only a little bit. Good. Good. Let's get into what we're drinking, and then we can have some lovely chats about all of the games that we've been playing. Who am I going to first? Adol, I'll come to you first.
Sure. Even though it's November now, I have the last of my October Festi box.
Oh yeah.
Well,
So
you're going to be cursed for 7 years now.
Yeah, 700 years according to the bottle. So this is a Festbier, 6%, proudly Bavarian. That's what it says. I don't know what a Festbier is. I presume it's an Oktoberfest beer. But I'm just using some induction rather than real deduction. I have no strong evidence.
I have drunk that beer.
Yeah, I kind of figured
I also didn't know what
it was.
Yeah. But that's fine, isn't it? That's fine. Cool. You crack that one. Lucy, what are you drinking?
Nothing today. I have no beers that would be unique other than Steady Rolling Man, and we're in lockdown now. We need to grab a hold of our precious beers and save them.
We'll see if this new lockdown 2, what are we calling it? Lockdown 2, the
Electric
Boogaloo. Yeah, very good. Yeah. Well, how that presents itself with buying habits and whether we sort of change or didn't change back or whatever happens, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the coming weeks as things happen. I have 2 beers. They're both big boys. I'm going to drink the double IPA first at 8% because it's the slightly lower ABV beer.
Wow.
I don't know why. Everything that jumped out to me the last trip to the bottle shop were all 8% plus. There was nothing lower than that I picked up.
Like heaven.
I was going to say, it sounds like exactly what we all are feeling with the current world climate in all of the ways.
Yes. And in celebration of America and them hopefully not electing a complete cunt again.
How you say words out loud.
Yeah, I'm going to drink.
I've been avoiding the internet today.
I'm going to drink an Irish beer because, as I read today, a lot of their presidents have Irish heritage. Even Obama. Loads of them, all like the modern ones, the Bushes, so many of them. But this is a beer from Whiplash. It's called Apocalypse Dreams. It's an Amarillo double IPA. Ooh. It has got Maris Otter, wheat malt, oat malt, and Amarillo in it. As I said, it's 8%.
I like my Whiplash beers.
I almost
probably after today we're all gonna have Whiplash. So
I almost had a double Irish week. I thought I'd save the other one for next week, just in case we need to commiserate with our Irish friends. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
there's
I'm trying to find an Irish passport. Can't find one. The black market.
That's it, mate.
Yeah.
You need to just pretend that one of your relatives comes from there and all of that. Adil, come back to you.
Which is a very, very inside joke that nobody will get unless they watch like the second Charlie's Angels movie.
Oh wow! Can't say I have. Is it Full Throttle?
Is that what it's called? I don't know.
I think I've not seen it, but I'm pretty sure it's
Full Throttle. I just remember one joke from it where Bernie Mac is they're in Ireland for some reason. I don't know. And then he says that he's Irish in an American accent, and he's like, "Have you not heard of Black Irish?" And that was the joke.
Yeah, I mean that sounds right. I mean,
he's a much funnier man than that movie deserves. So.
Yeah, Yeah.
Using one of his Hollywood jokes to represent him probably isn't the best way.
Yes, Full Throttle 2003. Wow.
Jeez, good knowledge. Good
No,
knowledge.
actually, like literal not good knowledge, useless knowledge.
How's the beer?
Bosley was
Bosley, Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about good comedians who were in that.
Although was Bill Murray in the second one or just the first one?
Couldn't tell you.
It's fine. It's fine. All right. I'm going to talk about my beer.
Yes.
This is it. It is brown. Oh, actually, maybe I shouldn't have. It is blurry because of the stupid NVIDIA thing, not knowing thing. This isn't your face. But you can get the color. It's very, very clear. Like you can literally see my face through it. Although with the beard, it probably just looks more like a goblin. And Halloween was last week. It's sort of a honey amber color. But you can still see the bubbles coming, but it poured with an exceptionally thin head. It smells kind of happily.
Oh. I think I drank this as part of my big
your big
clear out.
Yeah, like, hey, I have this many beers hanging out. What if I drank them all? Sorry, my computer's turned off. Screen. Yeah, so sweet, appley. That's a really refreshing. Very easy to go down. More of that sort of appley taste. Light bitterness on the finish. You don't notice like the sweetness sort of fades. You get a light bitterness with a touch of malt. It's a German beer. Yeah, it's like a German amber. It's what it tastes like. I really like the crispness on the start. The mouthfeel is exceptionally light for a 6% beer. Like, unless you really pay attention to the fact that it kind of clings to your tongue, I think because the taste is really quick and quite crisp, you can mistake this for like a 4%, sort of a lighter beer. Yeah, I mean, sort of all I need to say about it right now. It's just really crisp. This is like a good late summer beer, I would say. I guess October on the continent. Because it's not quite like generic lager in the park, satiating of just like cool, refreshing, but because it has something else, but it can live in that. It's not super hot, and I want a little more taste out of my beer, but I'm still I could easily drink this really quickly. I will try not to. Because, like I said, there is an interesting taste curve. Even if it's quick, it's a nice, easy flow between that sort of crisp appley taste to the slightly bitter and malt finish. But yeah, really easy to drink. I might have to find out if there are other fest beers to have. Just based on this.
Yeah, I saw. I've got no idea where it was posted, but I think Cloudwater have done one, but very recently, if not this week or last week or something like that. You know, what was that on? I'm sure I saw a post of a few new Cloudwater beers, and they had a fest beer in there. And I did a quick Google about Festbier. No, I'm not asking you for anything. Go away, automated robot person, woman thing. Festbier, the beer actually served at Munich's Oktoberfest. It's related to Oktoberfest, but a definitely distinct style. It's a pale lager with a clean Pilsner malt biscuit bent. I don't think that's the word that's meant to be used there. With some additional toasted malt flavors in support. That's from beerandbrewing.com.
Yeah, so it's a hoppy seasonal lager.
Yeah.
Yep. Deep gold. Like I said, not quite your summer lager.
Nice.
But yeah, cool. It's good. It's nice. And it does, like I said, I think what I like most about it is that it gives me sort of those, because there has a bit of that mouthfeel and a little more of that strength and like that more taste to the crispness, it just is more satisfying to sap than a lager on a colder day.
Nice. Good. So, for me, the Whiplash, the Amarillo Double IPA, Amarillo, it's got a very light nose. It's tropical sort of fruits, but it's almost got this like bubblegum sweetness in the nose as well. It's very, very thick. It's just a solid color. A little lighter maybe at the top kind of through, but yeah, pretty yellow, little bit of an orange hint to it as well. Yeah, very, very light nose. Ooh. Oh, that's actually like super crisp. Wasn't it's not that there's this carbonation to it which kind of rushes through and keeps it really really light and really sort of almost feels like when you drink it, it kind of lifts you very slightly because that carbonation and that refreshing sort of crispness just kick in, and it brings with it both a nice tropical fruit flavor, a little sweet, so that bubblegum sweetness I was getting in the nose doesn't push through in the flavor as much, but it is just there, and there's some sort of sweet tropical fruits going on. But it has that. I mean, it's definitely a double IPA. You get that from kind of the bit of the viscosity that you're getting through it, but also it has a dankness to it as well. But that pairs quite nicely with this creaminess. Almost, it's kind of the. It almost feels like when you have something like an ice cream pail, that you have that sort of that lightness, that slight kind of sweetness from a lactose, but also a creaminess, a very crisp, very cold sort of refreshing feel to it as well. And this doesn't have any lactose in it. I imagine a lot of that is probably coming from the oats, maybe from the Amarillo as well. But that's very, very nice. Oh,
nice.
That's Whiplash. They make good beers. Never had a bad beer from them.
No.
Don't think I ever will.
I think saying that dankness kicks in, that creaminess is there, but I think maybe you can just tell that it's a little bit bigger, that it is an 8% beer as well, from a little bit of sort of residual alcohol sweetness in there. Once those tropical fruits have died down a little bit and they're leaving that sort of that kind of slightly bitter, slightly dank finish, that creamy finish on there, that sweetness that's left, it does feel a little alcoholic rather than it being that tropical sweetness. You know, those tropical notes are gone. It's just left me with this, not a burn as such, but kind of that feel that you have when you've had a shot of tequila or a shot of vodka or something and the burn is gone, but you're still left with that sort of alcohol vapor kind of feel that you get in your mouth. Definitely a little bit of that on this as well. So it's I mean, there's a lot going on in there. This is good.
Sounds like
I'm gonna pour the rest of it. Pour the rest of it into my glass.
Yeah,
there we go.
I need more Whiplash in my life.
Me too, actually. I need to take a walk to the bottle shops. Not actually. What I need to do is Redland Stores, which is quite close to me, have been advertising on Instagram and stuff that they have like a wall of craft beer.
Oh, really?
A lot of local stuff, but some stuff like they have Dea in stock in a way that I haven't normally seen in other places.
Why aren't you there now?
Good question. So I think before lockdown, I might Might take a trip with a backpack and load up for the next couple thousand weeks.
I would assume they're probably an essential store though, so they'll still be open.
I just meant because minimizing trips.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's exciting for me because I haven't really been going to the bottle shops nearly as often. Even post first lockdown, I just got out of the habit, and it's a lot cheaper than ordering, obviously online and stuff usually. So yeah, that's exciting. Just because it's another place. Because other that better foods that's even closer to my house, just sort of down the hill. They have Arbor and they have some other ones, and so a couple of times, like the more recent Arbors I've had are from them, and they've got a lot of local, pretty much just sort of local brewers, but they're not cheap. So it's because the whole store isn't cheap. It's like it's great for being a vegetarian, and especially when you want to cook international foods and stuff, and like getting quality ingredients is really good. And sometimes some things are not expensive, but it's still like you don't do your whole shop there because you would go poor.
Yeah.
One of those stores.
You pick up the little bits.
Yeah. The bits and or bobs.
Yes. Exactly what you need from those places. Beers being the bobs, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So one thing I would sort of say is a lot of bottle shops and maybe even and brewers as well. You know, when first lockdown happened, they had a bit of a transition to sort of online sales. A lot of them had to put together sort of web stores and stuff.
Yeah.
And if you're thinking of going to say someone like Bottles and Books, which put together their own web store, if you think I'll do the walk, I'll go up there and I'll get some beers. Having a quick look online to see what they've got in might either push you to taking that trip a little bit further, or stop you from and thinking I will just grab sort of local if it's the same sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of in the shops, and it's probably a good way for people to work out what might be an essential trip. Obviously, beer is essential, but maybe if you're kind of people like like the three of us who constantly looking for new beers, we have our sort of our staple beers that we come back to, but also we're always looking for new stuff. It's just a good way to sound out whether a trip is necessary, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to Redland stores, so I'll have to take a look just to see what other stuff I can, like, I'll go there, like I said, this week, and then see, okay, so what do they have? That way the next time I want to buy those things, I can just go buy some beer, buy some groceries, and then not feel like I'm the worst.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's
easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's fair.
I think it's great. It's great that more places are getting in local breweries. I know, Lucy, when you went to or saw in like a local Morrison's, that they had Brummy Brewery in there as well at some point. And Co-op have always been quite a good sort of store for getting in local breweries. But I think that's spreading a little bit as well. And there's a newsagents down. I wouldn't be able to walk it. It's a bit of a drive. It's sort of more towards the city centre, but on the main road, basically for me. It's called Something News and Booze. It's one of those kinds of places where they have chillers full of like wines and standard lagers and stuff like that. But my neighbour said that they have started stocking Arbor in there now.
Nice.
And it's just kind of craft beer is proliferating the market that little bit more and getting into those places. So like with Redland stores and Better Foods, and there's in Bristol, there's Southfield Deli as well, and they do a load of kind of local breweries too, like Whiplash and Arbor and stuff. So within your vicinity, hopefully, listener, within your vicinity, places are more inclined to start stocking much more of a variety of beers. Hopefully the industry, whilst it's not massively shifting that way, I imagine craft beer is still a very, very low percentage of sales, maybe in the double digits, maybe. And obviously with supermarkets doing it more, it's still good to support your smaller, local, independent places, whether that's a bottle shop or whether that's a small franchise of local stores, or going directly to the brewery. I mean, just do what you can, I suppose.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing, just going straight to Burning Soul. Yeah, it's been over 10 months since, or around that. 9 months or something like that. Since I went to like my regulars, like Sturchley wines and Cartridge wines. So
yeah,
I'm sure they're still doing fine. So in fact,
do they offer kind of delivery or anything like that?
I'd be way too far. It's on the other side of the city for me, so it saved me in petrol. So there's that. I filled up like twice this year. It's been great.
That's perfect, especially when it dropped down to under £1.
Did it really?
As well. Yeah, it did. Yeah, came down to about 90p, I think.
Yeah.
The world is nuts this year. Who knows what's going to happen next? Hopefully, just excellent beers constantly for the next month at least. Yeah. And we'll see what the effects of kind of a second lockdown will have on the industry, hopefully. And I don't think it's gone through yet, but this duty tax as well that was kind of coming in, they were changing the kind of wording on the amount that was being brewed and whether you then qualified for this and stuff. And that was really going to hit a load of smaller breweries. And actually kind of Brexit and COVID, at least in the UK, has kind of stalled a lot of normal business in terms of government policy and things like that. So hopefully it does stall that at least for a little bit longer for them, enough to at least reconsider what they're doing with that. So we'll see what this landscape is like in another month's time. It's slightly different now than it was at the start of the year and last year. Not hugely, but a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, as you say, people have got their ish together with like setting up web stores and stuff like that. So they're hopefully better equipped to do it. And I think, we could all foresee that this was going to happen again.
I mean, yeah.
The numbers were not going down.
Well, yeah, and I mean, not to get too political, but the fact that we knew this weeks ago and we didn't...
September, wasn't it?
Yeah, we didn't do anything really because the economy means the economy is just going to... Like, it's all just short-run thinking. Like any longevity thoughts would not result in these decisions. And so...
Reactive, not proactive. So.
But, reactive to, we can't lose money now, not... It's not even like it's even if you were reactive, you would have done something different. Which is why, again, kids have to be in school. Universities have to be open because university towns can't survive, etc. There's other reasons, but like all that stuff is like, yes, we're going into lockdown. But the two big things that triggered this escalation that were different were schools and universities, and we saw the initial like surges coming from those areas and then hitting the other areas. And now they're like, well, these other areas we'll stop them, go back to working at home, but we'll still keep the initial red zones because teachers
students are the most incestuous, filthy people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makes zero sense to me.
I mean, as someone who was a student for the better part of 20 years, I can't deny what you were saying.
Oh, right. Let's move on to games this week. Who's going to start? Lucy, I'll come to you first this week. What do you want to chat about?
I finished Super Lucky's Tale.
Oh yeah.
The game continued to impress me, just how charming and polished it was. Controlled great. On the way to like 100% in like most of it. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Really impressed with that. I finished Carto. The cartography puzzle game that came to Game Pass last week or something. yeah, some of the puzzles are a little obtuse, not quite clear on what the game wanted from me, but those puzzles were pretty much few and far between. Most of it was some really well thought out puzzles. You know, some to do with like, you know, fitting together these pieces of the map, sort of like a jigsaw, and there's some like more cryptic puzzles of where to position the different parts of the map and stuff like that.
I haven't finished it yet, but I liked the volcano level
you're
where
pretty far.
yeah. Oh, really? Oh, good. Okay.
There's 10 chapters. I think that's like the 7th or something.
Okay, I've just gone back to the original island.
Yeah, so you're really far.
Okay. Oh, cool.
You got like 2 more levels.
I'll bash another hour out into it at some point. But I really like the volcano level where you go, you're up on the surface and then you go down underground. And like, sorry, the thing that you normally do doesn't actually work here. You then have to, and it's not hard to, you then have to memorize where the entrance is to the next sort of square is, come back up, turn the square on the surface, and then go back down and sort of do it like that. And I thought that was a nice, very simple sort of change up for what had come.
Yeah,
I completely agree with some of the puzzles. Some of them were just really obtuse, and actually the only notion you had of any kind of hint or solution to it was through one sentence in some dialogue with a character. You know, they might give you a direction and you're like, okay, sure, which way's that? Okay, that's that. And then you have to do those sorts of things, or some slight movement of things which might just, you know, deter or suggest the way that you should be kind of moving and things.
Yeah.
There were some very some stuff that you definitely had to get your head around. But even then, they did give some nice cues for things. In a big forest area, there were some nice musical cues for some of the puzzles. And again, some slightly more obtuse puzzles in that kind of densely forested area. But they did give a few cues to try and help you through that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And as you're saying, I think they get a lot of mileage out of that simple mechanic, because every chapter you have like a different way of using that mechanic and different puzzles and stuff like that. So yeah, I think they it never goes stale over those 6 hours because always switching up what you exactly have to do. So that's nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Very pleasant, very cozy game. Nice art style. You know, even the Comic Sans looking text is quite cozy and stuff like that. But yeah, just a really enjoyable game. Definitely recommend it if you have Game Pass or if you don't. So I was very prepared to pay 15 quid for it. Almost did. Then I saw it was coming to Game Pass, so I was like, nope. So yeah, very good. I haven't played. I don't think I've played anything else other than a game that you might be interested in, Ben, in particular. It's called Pacer, which I knew nothing about really until someone sent me a code for it. And then I was just like, oh, this looks like Wipeout. It looks like a 21st century Wipeout.
Interesting.
Okay.
And the thing with these like driving games are like I used to really like driving games like back in the day, and I think everybody did because they were the showpieces of consoles, and it was you know, very hard to get a racing game wrong, to be honest, and good multiplayer experiences. And with something like Grip, which came out I think last year.
Yes.
Which is basically a spiritual successor to Roll Cage, which I was always like, why don't they make another Roll Cage? And then they did, and then I barely played it. So I think like the thought and memory of those games is probably stronger than my actual desire to play them.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I gave Pacer a try. It's I'm playing it on PC. It's a really good looking game. As you'd expect from a racing game, really. Yeah, the computer handled it fine. Put all the settings on Ultra, and it's just beautiful, shiny,
Nice.
like futuristic kind of look that Wipeout has and had. I think someone who even worked on that series worked on this game.
Oh,
I think they're a dev studio from like all different walks of life in the game industry, but you know, a lot of pedigree.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really shiny, really beautiful. I think they've got enough in it. I was cycling through all the maps that they have. That it looks like that you unlock over time when you basically earn in-game credits, and the more you do, the more laps that you do, the more races that you do. So those things unlock over time. So there's always that incentive to go back, play, do a few races, and you've unlocked this place, and you can unlock, obviously new skins and stuff like that for your car, and you can unlock different times of day to play these tracks as well. So there's enough to keep you occupied in that sense.
How does it handle? Is it more
handle's
like
really good.
a Wipeout sort of style game? Yeah.
Yeah, you
Lots
like
of drifting and
drifting. I mean, you've got a left brake and a right brake on the two triggers. Yeah, it just feels really nice, really fluid to do that. And yeah, it is very much Wipeout. You like sort of hovering and firing. It's good when you're looking like just fire weapons at the AI, who don't mess about. By the way, I struggle to ever beat the AI. So they've got that. Might have to drop that down to easy, but to actually get a win. One of the modes that I actually really enjoyed was the Battle Royale mode.
Really?
Which is basically there's this dome over the races, and it gets smaller and smaller as time goes by, and it gets smaller from like the front as well. So it's not like you're always having to just be as fast as you can and speed ahead, because the dome starts drawing in from ahead of you as well. So it's like you're having to slow down and kind of manage acceleration and deceleration to stay in that like dome.
So is it like on an open field?
No, it's still on the track.
Still on the track.
It's still on the track.
Nice.
And it's like it's like, oh, you're outside of the dome. Your shield's going down. You have a shield and just a random health bar as well. It's like those are going down the longer you stay out of the dome, and basically have to make sure you're in there all the time and not go too far ahead, because you'll be out of the dome in that side. So best I came in that is second.
Yeah,
but
fair.
Yeah, I think it's a good one of those. It's very well made. I hope it finds an audience. I imagine it will. It's just how much longevity that has. I don't know if like how populated the multiplayer maps are going to get. How long it'll take people to unlock all the modes, all the different ships and stuff like that. So an interesting thing about the ships is that you can tailor them, so you can have them more defensive or offensive or
nice.
And it isn't just like, oh, this one's just better at handling and this one's better at speed, which is usually the only two deviations most racing games have. You can also customize like their defensive and offensive attacks, which is cool. So
nice. So you can
it's neat.
Pick the model that you want and tailor it to your sort of play style a little bit more. That's very, very cool. I did just have a quick Twitter, and it's made by R8 Games, who are based in Middlesbrough here in the UK.
Brits. Well, isn't the original Wipeout team weren't they from over here as well?
Maybe.
Or am I getting that wrong?
Maybe.
Well, fellow Brits.
Mate,
well done, you made a decent game.
Like 20 years ago.
It's more than that, wasn't it?
No way we remember that.
No. But yeah, it really solid game. I'll probably put some more time into it just because it's like great to look at, and just getting a few time trial modes or something like that, which would be good. But yeah, I do recommend it if you're looking for that style of game. I don't know who those people are. There's probably a lot of them. I just may not be one of them, but yeah, it's definitely got the flashiness and the coat of paint to it. And yeah, most importantly, it handles really well.
Nice.
Nice, good. And that's exactly what you want from a high speed, tight track kind of racing game. If the handling is even just a little bit off, you will just leave that very, very quickly. You have a little bit more leniency, I think, when you're playing something which has a bit of a wider kind of track to play on. What was the one that came out that died instantly last year? Onrush.
Ha!
Yeah.
Sorry, I was like, I wonder what it's going to say, and then you said a thing like, "What was that?" Oh, like the died instantly, happened in reverse in my brain, and I couldn't help but be like, called it.
Onrush had those wider tracks, and the handling wasn't. It was good, but it wasn't great. But because it had those bigger areas, you could forgive it that little bit. Whereas when when you're playing Wipeout, you need it to be precise. You need that level of mastery to have to it, to know that you will be better than kind of other people through that and through practice and skill and those sorts of things, rather than just being able to be like, I bounced off a wall, is fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I'm still first. I'll be first forever. It's fine.
Yeah.
Trust me, I was bouncing off a lot of walls in this game for the first bit of it. But yeah, it's, those left brake and right brake on triggers just feel so good, so natural. There is one nitpick that I have where every now and then, I don't know what caused it. There was something, relative to the match and to the race that was going on. But all of a sudden, this just like bright white light just comes on your screen, and it's like, epilepsy warning if anyone, suffers from that. Like, it's pretty bright. And I looked in the settings. I don't know if it's because I don't know what the name of this particular event is, but I couldn't find a way to turn it off. And it was just like, geez, when you're playing, like, I've got a 32-inch screen TV monitor, and it's like, I'm only sitting a few inches away from it, and when that just in your face every now and then, I was just like, I don't want this. So if anyone knows,
was it some kind of weapon that the enemies used against you?
It might be, or it felt like someone was literally in my room throwing a flashbang at me.
Jesus.
It was that bright. I don't know.
Straight in your face. They pop it on every now and again.
Yeah, I need to play it more to see what is this? What is happening? But yeah, it might be someone who've just taken off that much of my shield, and I'm now down onto my final bits of health, or something. Yeah. I'm not sure.
It sounds interesting, definitely. I did see it only came out sort of towards the end of October, I think the 28th or 29th.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah. So it's only been out a few days, and we've seen a little bit with games and multiplayer games that have released this year where they've very quickly not necessarily turned off the servers, but have scaled back the expectations of the game. I don't know
how many people are playing it right now.
Yeah. I don't know what the issue has been this year with some multiplayer games struggling to find an audience. Because you would think that actually this year would be one of the easier years with people being in, but maybe it's just the amount of choice that people have. If your controls aren't as tight as they should be, if the gameplay is lacking something that you're gaining from a different game, perhaps people will disappear pretty swiftly, I suppose.
Is this in Steam Early Access? So I'm looking at the Steam charts.
So I'm pretty sure it said it was all the consoles. No, not all the consoles. PC, PS4, and Xbox One for Pacer.
Because
so you can probably find the Steam details very easily, but I don't know whether you would for either of the consoles.
But yeah, because the Steam charts isn't looking promising. I'll just say that. Was this in access? don't think so. Am I looking at the right game? I think. Oh yeah.
My phone battery's too low for me to Google it.
Can't see any reviews before, but that would have been an early access review and something else.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Shall we do the Steam comparison reviews?
Ah, yes. Do you have those up?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good.
Right.
Often but not regular.
Yeah, it's been a
segment.
while since we've done that segment. I almost forgot it was a thing. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we just had a swath of games which didn't have Steam reviews. Because they weren't on Steam, and there's not really good analogs for, like, community nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me read a bad one first. Get that out of the way. Well, negative, rather. Doesn't necessarily mean the review's bad. Some people are saying that they've had issues with bugs. I didn't experience anything, but I didn't play the game extensively. So yeah, I'll read this one. This is from Ni Sion, who's got 18 hours on
80.
18. 16.9 at the time of review.
A game that came out only 3 days ago, 80 hours seems like a lot.
I mean, 18 is a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's true, yeah.
Especially if you're giving it a negative review, but at Steam. They say, this is a good game, not a great game. It has its flaws, notably several tracks being complete garbage, exploitable customization, overly easy AI. Okay, well, you're much better at this game than me. It also has its strong points, such as the weapon system being a massive leap overhead over the classic item roulette. I think this guy plays Mario Kart, which I do not trust this person. Purely if they play Mario Kart.
Steam review number 2. Move on from Mario Kart Man 4.
They say there's no way to rewind controls, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
I was playing for Xbox controller, so. But yeah, they're saying lack of polish, like and janky and crashes. I did not experience that. So. And
as you said, kind of at the top of this, it looks very pretty. So lack of polish seems maybe like they played either an early build or they had their settings just down very low.
Yeah, I'm guessing because I put everything on ultra and it ran really well. So
yeah,
I don't know. Here we go. A positive review. I'll read this short one from MGO. They say almost as good as Wipeout, but a few major issues holding it back. I've played around 20 hours and just about done with the campaign. I played a few races as well, so you're getting bang for your buck if it's 20 hours per racing game as well.
Yeah.
Great sound, graphics, design, and sense of speed. Controls feel pretty good outside of elite speed. Weapon and vehicle customization systems are neat and give the game its own identity. I agree with that. Many of the tracks are excellent. Awesome soundtrack. Cons. A few of the tracks are very amateurish in design, not fun to race on. Career mode teams, not memorable, need more flavor. Bugs at launch, most are fixed as of now. So, yeah. I agree with the uniqueness it has from the vehicle and weapon customization. So
nice. So maybe it's kind of the game to pick up for people who are au fait with this style of racing game and want something a little bit different. Do you think it would be? Do you think it'd be difficult or too much for people who, don't play this kind of style of game at all? Is there a level of entry to this kind of experience?
I think there is with like all racing games, really.
Yeah.
Most games have, this sort have difficulty modes. Obviously, when you're playing online with any game, it's a bit of a crapshoot, to be honest. But yeah, I think I don't know if there was a tutorial or anything. So because what I did notice is that as soon as I got into the game, I was like, okay, people are shooting me. I don't know how to shoot back. Press start and went into the controller layout menu.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's that. That's this. Because my first race, I was just like at a standstill at the beginning of the match because I thought I was revving up by pressing the trigger button. To accelerate is like the A button.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
what?
I just sat there. I was like, I'm not moving. I was jamming on the right trigger. It's like, what's going on? So, but yeah. It all felt. I completely agree with not being able to rebind the controls because that sucks in any game. But
yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it doesn't. But it still felt natural for me. With someone who's obviously accustomed to using the R trigger to move in a racing game. Yeah, it didn't feel out of place or like I was playing a crappy Assassin's Creed game when R1 is the action button. Like, yeah, it just felt fine.
Good, nice.
Yeah,
it does sound absolutely up my street.
Yeah, I was trying to look if it had that. What do they call it? Adil, when you can remote play with people.
Oh, yeah, Steam Remote Play. Got it in one.
I was looking to see that. Yeah, I should have just given you the code, to be honest, Ben. But I was like, Pacer, what's Pacer? And I was like,
yeah, I'll take that one, sure. As the Steam library, like, oh, okay.
Ben would like this. So yeah, I'll have to see if it has a remote play.
Nice, yeah. We'll get an evening at some point to take a look. Good. Shall we open some more beers, Adel?
Yeah, let me rinse my glass. We could run an ad break, or I could just walk away.
Run an ad.
Yeah.
Run an ad for the Twitch humans. Hello, Twitch humans.
Although we had a couple and they literally just bounced. But I think getting the rhythm of that is reasonable.
They'll be back. They will. Back.
Audio listeners, you haven't gone anywhere yet. You're still with us. You can hear the faint water trickle in the background of a
40
clean,
seconds.
fresh glass. That's Adel telling us how much ad time is left.
Yeah. Sorry. What were you saying?
Look at what ad it is. Is it Pringles again?
Is it Sky again?
Mm.
Obviously, everyone that listens to this podcast.
It's a video game. It's a video game.
Oh,
that
is
makes
it?
sense.
It looks like Warframe. It looks like Godfall.
Oh no, that's even worse.
PlayStation are pushing then.
Oh yes, it's a PlayStation. Oh, and Red Bull.
Yeah.
There's a Red Bull guy and he's playing a game.
Oh, I see.
I mean, we're back, but so this makes very little sense. But
Go on, Adel.
Yeah, me. Hey, it's me. What do you want?
Beers.
Cool. I have this. The last of my birthday beers from one of my housemates. Because I was like, these are really great choices, and I'm going to save them for the pod.
Nice.
It is a Left-Handed Giant Plentiful Rains, the black IPA with coffee.
Ooh.
Really gorgeous, as always, Left-Handed Giant. Oh my god. There we go. 10. Yes, so it is a black IPA, 6.5%. It's an Ethiopian Aramo Lot 1 coffee.
Yes.
Idaho 7 and Simcoe hops, and brewed in collaboration with Triple Co Roastery and the Coffee House Project. That's all you need to write, and that's all they did write. It's a nice tall can, 6.5%. I thought I was like, at least that's heavier than the last few weeks I've had. And then Ben's like, I have 8 or higher. Ugh.
Can't can't help it. That's what I want at the moment.
Yeah, no worries,
So
man. I mean, that's kind of what I want at the
drawn to.
moment too, especially tonight. But I've got an unopened bottle of whiskey that also was given to me for my birthday. So,
Perfect.
depending on how the night goes, because we're recording this on November 3rd, boy, might get cracked.
Stay off Twitter.
Let's hope you don't eat it.
Yeah. Was it? It was called Plentiful Rains. Is that
Yes.
the rains down in Africa, or the ones that keep
Yes.
children at bay?
Yes, it's the rains down in Africa.
Perfect.
Specifically
anyone who wants
Ethiopia, from the coffee, I assume.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, RAINS.
Cool. So I am going to open a beer from America. Also themed this evening. This is from I think it's Adroit Theory.
Adroit?
ADROIT. Adroit or Adroit?
What?
I mean,
What?
I guess it depends on if they're pronouncing the French way.
Yeah. Adroit Theory, perhaps. So
Good at it. Yeah.
it's got I was instantly drawn to this can, which looks metal as fuck.
I mean, if the can isn't metal, something's gone wrong.
It's
Ben.
covered in moths and fucking skulls. I'm down. It does say that it is 10%.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It doesn't tell me. I don't think it tells me what the beer style is. Oh no, it does. It's a hazy triple IPA. It's been double dry hopped. It's got Mosaic, Citra, Azaka, Sultana, and Idaho 7. The beer is called Evangelion XIII Bardiel. If you'd like to read that there.
Sounds like what a
That's some
celebrity.
anime shit, isn't it?
It sounds like the title of an Evangelion fucking episode, so that's fine. It gives you lots of pairings on the back. Food, lacquered ribeye and tiger fruit salad. You can also pair it with pave vecchio cheese, or you could pair it with a crowned heads, the caramel bellicoso finole cigar.
Oh, don't know where I'm gonna get one of those cigars from.
Cigar pairings. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what fucking plane of existence we're on at the moment.
One I'd
who
like to be. I'm not rich
Who
enough
knows?
for it.
It tells me that it's can number 5,377 of 15,000 cans as well. Yeah,
that's not
there you go. Adroit Theory or Adroit.
That
depending
sounds
on what the fuck you want to
very
say.
interesting.
Yes.
Where on earth did you source this?
It's
Which
from the bottle shop. Bottles
Yeah.
of mate, from bottles of
which pentagram did you draw to in Dark God?
It's my door.
Did it come out your cigar humidor or something like that? Where did it come out?
I opened the box and there was just this piece of paper with a name on, telling me what to buy to accompany all of the cigars, obviously, that I smoke constantly. It's very fizzy. These cans have been sat on my shelf for a good 4 days, and it's only been transferred over into the fridge today. But it fizzed as I cracked the can. Very, very aggressive. I'll let that sit for a minute. Adil, I'll come back to you.
It's me.
For the left-handed drive.
Yes. Look at it. It's thick as fuck. Oh man, yeah. Remind me next time to actually deal with this blurring thing, because the fact that it there we go. I'll put my face behind it, and then you can kind of see. But now you see the reflection of. Wow. Sorry. Most people listen to this on the podcast and are just like, they'll just stop talking about what it looks like and just talk about it. So it's very dark. It's very thick. Clings to the glass. Very thin head, even on the pour. It's not like it just dissipated. I mean, it smells fucking great. You get coffee immediately, but not only. You get kind of a sweetness, and almost a maltiness, like above the underneath the coffee. There's something else. There's something about the sweetness. want to say it's like a slight plum or prune tinge. So like a deep dark fruit in the middle of that. It's hard to tell because like that the coffee is just sitting there on the nose. But what's nice about it is it's sort of like at the 1/3 level, just constant. And then everything else is sort of going above or below it. Ooh.
That's good. Some good sounds.
Yeah. You can quote me on that, left-handed giant.
Does sound satisfying.
It is. I mean, it's only
I like how
0.5%.
you're taking little sips as well.
Oh yeah, this is a beer that I'm gonna try and savor just because there's so much lovely taste, and you don't need a lot to like go through that taste curve. I mean, you're getting the coffee on the back end. It sticks to your mouth. It's got this lovely velvety, light texture, which again 6.5%. So it clings just enough. Oh, sorry, just that finish. So like after about like 5-ish seconds, the coffee really kicks in, and you're like, oh, this was really satisfying. So the finish sort of finishes kind of malty, but then the coffee kicks in, and it goes really well with the maltiness, but feels like a different thing. And it ends slightly sweet with this lingering coffee, and the maltiness is very much on like barely there. It finishes quite not as malty, probably because it's an IPA, so like there's just not a lot of malts, but because of the coffee, it's bringing those malts super forward for like the initial taste and the first hit of the finish, and then because my IPAs aren't that malty, those go away and the coffee kicks in, and then the more so then like I'm not as familiar with Idaho 7. I can't easily place it, but it's the Simcoe and the coffee that makes this really interesting finish that also gives you a slight sweetness feeling while being coffee.
Yeah.
And then
I think the Idaho 7 might be giving you, because Idaho 7 gives you, am I thinking of Idaho 7 giving you a little bit of sort of coconutty sweetness?
Yeah, I think that's what it is then. Yeah. That sounds about right. And it's, it's an IPA, it's 6.5%. It's got coffee in it. All of those are like a step below what you would think. It's not a punch you in your face kind of drink. And so like the IPA is like I said, it's like really nice, sort of hoppy and a little malty forward, and then fade into a bit of maltiness, and then kick back into just the coffee and the hops. And all of this is sort of, again, not super strong in your face, but very clean and clear. So it's, which is really nice, because if these were bolder, like if this was a bolder coffee taste and a stronger IPA taste, I think you might tire of it. And I think I will end up nursing this because it is that step below on like strength, but very clean, and the taste curve is so lovely and the tastes are so nice. But I can easily just keep coming back to it. I don't think I'm going to be like, oh, I'll just take a bigger quaff, because like, like if it's these big flavors, sometimes you have this feeling that just take the big sip of the big flavors, enjoy that curve, take another big sip in a bit. You take the beer in like 4 hits. This is going to be like a 15 to 20 hit thing, because I kind of don't want it to end.
Yeah.
And like I took a bigger sip in the middle of those smaller or tasting sips, and taste curve is about the same. So it's like, okay, I'm not getting a lot more out of it, except maybe better coverage in my mouth to make all my mouth enjoy everything. So yeah, this is excellent beer. Not that I'm surprised by Left Hand Giant, but I'm surprised at the coffee and IPA going so well while neither tasting super IPA nor like super coffee beer. Like it's just, like I said, it's more low key, and those things are working really well together. So if you don't like coffee, you might not like the finish, but again, it's got that slight sweetness on the very end of the finish, so it doesn't leave you like, I just had coffee taste. So, yeah, it's like one of those where even if you didn't like one of those moments, like the ride is really good.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Good. In my mind palace, I think I have conflated Idaho 7 with Sabro. I think Sabro is the one that is the coconutty, very sweet kind of pina colada-y type hop. Idaho 7 seems to be appearing more and more. Like the beer that I've got's got Idaho 7 in as well. It does seem to be appearing a lot more. Is Idaho 7 maybe
citrusy, earthy, and floral? So actually,
okay.
So it's piney, tropical, fruity, citrusy, earthy. So I think that's actually, it's a citrusy, tropically, I'm noticing. And then I think the piney, I was, again, also noticing. So again, with the Simcoe, I think they're coming together to make this. And it might also be the malts. But again, it's not like it finishes like, oh, I feel sugary. I'm just saying like it finishes on a sweeter note than the rest of, like, than when the coffee is the strongest. So it might actually just be with the coffee flavor fading, and so it feels sweeter. But again, it doesn't finish sweet. It just feels sweeter on that swing. But yeah, I think the earthy sort of tropically is probably what's going on.
Yeah. Good. So Evangelion from Adroit Theory, if that is how you say it, has a nice nose. It, again, as with the Whiplash, it's a block of color. It's super thick. It's very orange though. The Whiplash, the Apocalypse Dreams, there's a little more yellow, a little more straw in color. It's very, very orange, but it looks lovely, and almost like blood orange, not just orange, like blood orange as well. Oh fuck! Oh, had a lovely nose, lots of fruit in there, and again the flavor. There is a lot going on. There's so much fruit in this. A little bit of carbonation, not as much as the Whiplash, not that kind of clean, refreshing sort of taste, which with the Whiplash I found really good, being a double IPA, having that extra kind of that level to it. This is much more of a, I mean, it's an American beer. It's like an American double IPA or triple even IPA, as they suggest. It's subdued. It's subtle. There's a lot of fruit happening in this. There's a little bit of a bitter finish, but you could easily mistake this for a lighter beer, something around the 7.5% to 8% sort of thing, not the 10% that it is. Yeah, 10%. You do not get that from this whatsoever. Such a light nose, and again, you're getting this maybe, I say blood orange in color. You're getting a little bit of an orangey waft from the nose as well. There's barely any head to that whatsoever. And you are getting a little bit of citrus, definitely some orange in there. Something that's a little bit more pithy as well. It's not grapefruit. It's not edging towards one of those kind of danker melons, but it's something that's just a little bit more pithy in there. But that combination is really, really nice. Fuck, that's going back far too quickly. That's probably me checking out for this episode. I'm just going to sit here, just smash this back. It's so good. My God, that's really fucking good.
Excellent.
I haven't had a beer like this for ages. Amazing. Right, I'm going to stop talking about this beer.
Really?
I'm going to drink it. I'm going to talk about it later. Let's move on. I did have a game I want to talk about, which I might jump in now and talk about just in case the 10% does hit me at some point. And I'm going, so the game... I don't want to get to that point. So I'm going to talk about Vampire.
Oh!
It was a free PlayStation Plus game last month.
It was.
Yeah.
Hey, remember PlayStation? I don't. I don't remember the last time I turned mine on.
I turn mine on for the free games normally, or the
I don't have one.
exclusives.
I go to store.playstation.com/en-ca/PS Plus or whatever once a month, sometimes once every 2, and click get, and then I forget about it. I should look when the auto renew is, because I don't think it's worth it for me.
Turn that off.
Absolutely turn that off. Yeah.
Save your money.
So I've been playing Vampire. It's from Don't Nod. We love Don't Nod. Don't Nod are great. They make some fantastic games. Vampire is a very different game to the Don't Nod games that I have played. Life is Strange, Tell Me Why. They also made, is it Remember Me? Which was a bit more of a platformy type game, which I didn't play. But Vampire kind of walks this odd line in that they want you to have a lot of conversations. There's a lot of dialogue to be had in this game. There's a lot of discussion and a lot of discovery through their dialogue. Talking to one person might reveal something about another character. But they bring in these action combat elements to it as well. And I actually really like the change to that sort of genre. I like where Vampire sits in their kind of catalogue of games that I have played. It is different, but it does it well enough that I like the change up. So you're a character called Dr. Jonathan Reed. You've come back from World War One. You're partying. You're hanging around London, and you become a vampire. You get bitten by some character that you don't know, and suddenly you have a skill set that is otherworldly for a vampire.
Vampiric.
Yes, and you have this thirst for blood as well. So the game kind of wants you to constantly consider whether you should drain citizens versus what their impact on the world has. So you're going around a very small, very limited map of London. It's very corridor sort of based. So it's not a big open world. You know, it's not like anyone who's playing sort of like Watchdog Legions at the moment being able to drive around wherever you want. It isn't like that at all. It's much more of a sort of like a Soulsborne style game where you have specific corridors leading you through. I say Soulsborne, you know, this is like a PS2 level map kind of design where you're moving between areas and you have corridors taking you to those areas, sort of thing. I remember from Mark Cerny's PS5 conversation about one of the early kind of...
Give me your ears!
I can't remember whether it was Jack or Daxter or Ratchet and Clank where he was talking about hiding loading screens through convoluted kind of pathing through areas. Vampire doesn't do that. You walk over a bridge and suddenly there's like a 3-second loading screen. You might not catch it, but you may just catch it if you're moving fast enough for it. And that's fine, but it has that feel to it. You're moving through areas. Yeah. And areas are leveled as well. So there's an RPG mechanic to this. And eating people, eating the citizens.
Eating them or just drinking their blood?
Draining their blood. You're not eating them, that's fine. Yeah. Draining their blood will give you a set amount of experience, and that will obviously allow you to level up faster. So far through my playthrough, I haven't drained any citizen yet.
Damn. You drinking pig's blood or something like that?
No. There are enemies. So there's what they're called Skal, which are like lesser vampires almost, and they're kind of like the standard enemy that you have. There are also vampire hunters who are kind of roaming the streets, who you just come across and you can fight. But the experience
these guys are just like, hey, if I just walk around long enough, maybe I'll bump into a vampire.
No. You're kind of at the end of the war. What they suggest is Spanish flu is like running rampant through London. But there is this hint that it isn't Spanish flu and that it is this kind of vampiric maid, and it kind of masks itself as Spanish flu. But luckily, Jonathan Reed, the character you play, is like Europe's leading fucking blood guy, and is a doctor, and can kind of analyze blood and all of this sort of shit. So they pull that kind of thing into this game as well. So you're centered very much, and your base of operations is a hospital. There's lots of stuff that kind of comes up with that, like the idea that does this character have much time left in the world? Could I just drain them and gain like 1,000 experience? Whereas if I kill an enemy, it gives me 5 experience. So actually taking this character out and draining them gives me a massive boost. And I've hit a point where I haven't drained any characters, but I am 4 or 5 levels below the enemies that I am starting to encounter. And it's pushing me. It wants me to start to consider the idea of taking on characters. And I've come across, unsavory characters, ones that wouldn't be missed, that I don't think would have much impact on the well-being of the area. And again, that's another consideration. You have to have the well-being of the area that you are in. Characters have ailments, so some may be suffering from headaches, and you can make some medicine to give, make paracetamol to give to those characters and change the status of different areas. But taking out certain characters will have an impact on that, and it's very much kind of putting up the flag for certain characters to be like, you could probably just take this character out. Like, he seems like a complete asshole, right? Don't worry about it. This is the guy. And the first character, it gives you that tutorial mode through to say, this is what you can do. You can drain some characters. I'm like, I don't want to do that right now. Like, he on his bar, it shows that I could get like 500 experience from him, which seems a lot at the moment, but his bar's only half full. And actually, through conversation and through giving him medicine, I can improve that experience. So I can get it up to like 1,500 or 1,000.
You're grooming him.
So you're grooming certain characters. Absolutely. So you are grooming some characters to get more out of them. But still, I don't think I found any characters where I really want to kind of to kill and level up through this. I think I'm much more happy to explore, to find things, to take down enemies.
So like grind
and grind through it a little bit. And you do get like invite or mission based kind of experience and stuff. So there's a kind of like this through story. You're this new vampire and you're this doctor as well. So there's this kind of story in the hospital. There's this story around being a vampire and all this sort of stuff. And it's written quite well. I'm engaged. It's keeping me going through it. It has those Souls-like elements of this kind of like tight corridory based kind of map. You sleep, and that is when you can spend your skill points, and enemies will appear again after you sleep. So it has that kind of bonfire effect that Dark Souls games have as well. So you've got a little bit of a grinding notion in that sort of sense. You can clear an area, go and sleep, go back and clear an area, go and sleep. That sort of stuff that's kind of going on to it. But it feels like such a different game from Don't Nod that I'm like, this is, playing Tell Me Why. I got through to partway through the 3rd episode, and there's only 3 episodes, but I put it down, and I don't know whether I will go back to it. Like, the story was compelling enough to get me to a point, but it seems to have stalled a little bit and petered out a little bit, and I'm not as interested as I was earlier when there was much more intrigue and stuff to the story. Whereas Vampire kind of has a better balance of gameplay versus that story and that kind of those dialogue options that it wants you to uncover. And I think actually that even though kind of like Life is Strange 2 very much followed the first game, that is that series, and they've done Tell Me Why, which does follow a little bit more of the Life is Strange to the model. I want to see something like Vampire from them again. Like this is good. It's maybe it's a bit more mid tier in terms of the graphics. And kind of not the jankiness, but the, you hit an enemy and they hit a wall and they die, and then they're just kind of wobbling sort of against the wall for 5 minutes until the body kind of disappeared, left the area and come back. But
is this before or after you groomed them?
Definitely before. I think once you groom them, you probably put them down on the bed and stroke their hair, and then you fucking. No, I don't. I haven't done that yet, Lucy. I haven't done that yet. Okay. I've tried to be a nice vampire.
Yeah.
I'm not going around eating.
It reminds me of that Treehouse of Horror of Terror episode. Was it the first one where like they're on Kai and Kodos's ship and they find the book like how to eat humans, and it's like
yes,
how to cook humans. It's like how to cook for humans.
Yeah.
This is the video.
That's an old joke, yeah.
That, basically, yeah. I always think about The Simpsons, so that's fresh in my mind all the time.
Yeah,
so,
just as a random aside, my brother has a massive toothache at the moment, and is having his tooth pulled out in like a week's time or something like that. But because it's locked down and he isn't registered with a dentist, he had to go for a private dentist. He couldn't go NHS. So to get a root canal instead would have cost him a lot of money. Anyway, he messaged, or actually his partner messaged us as a big group, like the family group, saying blah, 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 blah. They've suggested that he needs to go on a dental plan. And all I responded was with Lisa needs braces. And no one, apart from my brother, got it.
It doesn't matter as long as he got it.
This was only for you.
Yeah,
and I'm
exactly.
glad that you understand.
That's really good.
Dental plan. It just like instantly hit me. The Simpsons is just so ingrained.
Yeah.
But can I ask you a question? When was the last time you watched a new episode?
Like
10 years?
I watched a whole episode.
I watched
old Simpsons.
I watched
like
an old episode of The Simpsons a month ago because I came downstairs and one of my flatmates was watching The Simpsons, and I was like, and it was I can't remember the title of the episode. That's fine. It's the one where Homer gains all the weight so we can go on disability. Homer. Yeah, there we go. I was like, this is why I watched
that about 6 times.
This is why I was like, I can't believe I can't remember the episode title because it's a classic, right?
Big Bird.
I've told everyone. Yeah, I quote that episode.
Oh, it's so good.
Like every day.
Yeah,
but my tab.
Stupid Switch, which I had no reach. I was talking about it yesterday.
Really? Were you really?
I told my friends before we start working, because we're on the same job together. We're working from home. I told her, watch that episode.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's so good, and it was like, I quote The Simpsons. I remember these. I hear the references, but like, boy, has it not been a thing I've pursued in a long time. I was like, oh, yeah. So there's some weird fat phobia in that episode. It's of its time, right?
Yeah.
But like,
it'll never stop being funny.
Exactly. Like, I think we're just sort of stuck in.
It's in the 90s.
But like, I was just like, oh. Shit, am I supposed to do like a rewatch of the first 12 years of The Simpsons? Because those were the good ones.
Yeah, because I started doing that a few months ago when it's like I have Disney Plus. Someone I know has Disney Plus.
Oh, that's why my roommate was doing it. As one of my flatmates got the couple months of Disney Plus. Yeah.
And I'm just like, I could try watching Into the Spider-Verse that everybody likes.
Oh,
or
that's
I could
a fucking
just watch
great.
The Simpsons.
That's a great movie, though. Spider-Verse is great.
But I know, I may not enjoy that.
Yeah.
I know what I will enjoy.
Oh, I'm not suggesting you made the wrong decision. I'm just saying, I give my recommendation to Spider-Verse. I think it's probably the best Spider-Man movie.
Better than Sam Raimi's 2?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Although
okay.
I historically
wanna watch
have the lower opinion than most people do of 2.
That's fair.
Mostly because when I saw it in theaters, that whole fucking scene where he saves the train of people and his mask is off
Yeah, that was
still
a bit
bothers me.
righteous.
Well, it's because, and they're all like, "Oh, he's just a kid." Thanks,
28-year-old.
Spider-Man. And like, so there's like 45 people who now know his identity in the world, and it's fine. And it's like,
That's the spirit of New York.
But no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No one even fucking sucker punched him. Like New York's not fucking like that. Someone
It
would
is.
have definitely.
But I mean,
just
even if
fucking
it was
shouted.
like, even if they were super grateful, etc., there's no way no one was like, I
Clean
know who
that
Spider-Man
subway
is,
was.
just to their wife or whatever, and then it became known that his mask came off. Like
If
there was
it
just no
but to be
repercussions.
fair, they don't know who he is. It's not like, oh yeah, that's Peter
That's
Parker.
true.
Yeah,
He's
but
not
you
fine,
then
that's
you
perfect.
have to remember
Yeah.
a giant accident happened. So then they're like, Spider-Man saved us. And you're thinking not one of them was like, oh yeah, I saw his face. And the cops were like, cool,
Yeah.
get a sketch out. Nope, not one of them.
He was a brunette white dude.
I mean, although
Tom
no,
Holland? No.
yeah.
The one in the new Spider-Man game.
So what actually
Tom
what
Holland?
happened,
No.
was
Andrew Garfield?
they
Nothing.
described his face, and then when the cops
Sketch
put
up his
the sketches out, Sony swapped his face to Tom Holland, and so the sketches didn't match.
It would have been so good if they'd have set that up. That when the police sketched out his face, it'd have been like Andrew Garfield was one and fucking Tom
Tobey
Holland was
Maguire.
the other one.
Yeah.
And they're just like, no, not those guys.
So there are rumors that all 3 of the previous Spider-Man actors are going to be in. Like, it sounds like they're going to Spider-Verse the live action, which I think is a really cool idea.
Spider-Man 3.
Well-
Even though there's already been a Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
How-
but this
how
also
are they all appearing in it?
Sorry?
Are they all appearing?
That's the
as
rumors,
Spider-Man?
yeah, that they've been approached. Because they've already approached the villains from the previous movies. So like Electro from Garfield is tagged in a film.
I thought you meant like the
Jamie
cat.
Foxx?
Jamie
Is it
Foxx.
Jamie
Yeah.
Foxx?
Jamie Foxx, yeah.
Which is
Um,
wild when you think about it. God, the
What, are they going through,
2000s
like, a-
were
Alternative,
so it's Spider-Verse, right? Like his alternate.
but in live action.
Yeah.
And then Homer will be there holding Spider Pig up against the
Oh,
ceiling.
man. And then Spider-Ham's like, fuck, I thought I was the pig in this universe.
Yep.
Spider-Ham's the best. And the
It
fact
all-
that it's
it all
voiced
plays
by
in.
John Mulaney is like... John Mulaney's funny. If you want to watch some good comedy, at least his first 2 specials, which I still think are not on Netflix, go for it. Anyway.
Yeah. Tangent.
Good. Good. And that's Vampire as well. Go back 5 minutes to listen to the thoughts on that that game. It's fun. I'm going to keep playing it.
Sounds really good, yeah.
It's been on my play later list for several years, so
It's got, I
I'll
mean,
get
it's
to
got,
it
a,
eventually.
it's got a level of jank to it, but
Yeah,
it's
good
easy to
level.
get
of
over.
jank. Yeah.
Very easy to get over.
Jank is sometimes exactly what you need.
Yeah.
I like it.
Says the guy
I
who
like it.
accidentally broke a game without even trying today.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about breaking a game, but completely randomly. A very
Yeah.
random break as well.
Yeah. So, if you didn't catch the stream earlier today, I played airplane mode. We got a key from Backronym, or was it? Yeah, right.
Through Evolve. Through Evolve.
Through
PR.
Evolve, yeah. But Backronym is the dev, and AMC, the TV people, are the the publisher.
What?
Yeah.
Yep, I didn't realize that until we started, and it said AMC in the corner. Airplane mode delivers all the thrills of a real-time 6-hour commercial airline flight in coach. At least you've got a
yes, I
window
remember
seat.
this.
Buckle up. Yeah, so
Why do AMC publish this?
so there is a tie-in, sort of, but like airplane mode's gameplay explores airline travel down to every last detail, design of your seat, the seat back in front of you, contents of your carry-on bag and smartphone hard drive, to the behaviors of cabin crew and other passengers. The circumstances of your flight will change every time you play. Simply put, airplane mode is the most realistic flight simulation ever created. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. And then they have a bunch of things in the Steam description that are like, you know, the bullet pointed lists of like taxiing, takeoff, and landing. But that doesn't really matter. So Ben sat in the virtual back seat of my virtual coach seat, and I thought it would be, you know, you're like, okay, so it's literally I'm the passenger on a plane. How will this be made interesting? You start up, there's 2 modes. There's a 2-hour 5-minute flight and a 5-hour 45-minute flight. So it's JFK to Halifax. Surprised me. Yeah. Also surprised me that I didn't recognize the airport code, even though I've flown out of there several times over several years. And then I called Stansted because I've lived in the goddamn UK so long. Hit the highlights if you want to judge me as a former Haligonian. That's actually what you called yourself when you're from Halifax.
Really?
Haligonian.
That's a strange denominator.
Halifaxian.
Nope. Or a Halifaxer. Nope. Haligonian.
Or a fax machine.
Welcome to the world of New Scotland, folks. That's Halifax, Nova Scotia, obviously.
What about Old Scotland?
Yeah. So started up, obviously picked the 2-hour 5-minute flight because the stream's not supposed to be 6 hours, and also boy does it not make sense to try the short one before the long one, in my opinion. And you spawn in the window seat post boarding, pre-taxiing, and you've got a bag under the seat. You've got no one.
Do you?
We'll get there. So you got a bag under your seat. You've got a few things in your pocket, the standard things like the emergency card, the safety card, the puke bag, the in-flight magazine. You've got the old school non-touch screen-ish screen with the like push the button and the remote comes out and it's real clunky and has an awkward cord. You've got no one on your right in the middle seat, which, come on, that's already bullshit simulation. You always have some jerk. Yeah, somehow you end up being in the window seat and then there's no one in the aisle and there's someone in the middle and they're like, well, it's my seat, so I shouldn't move to the next one. And you're like, fuck you. I want space. You could have space too. What's wrong with you? And then they like slouch into the aisle seat and you're like, why are you in my space? But I can't be in the middle space. I've spent too many hours of my life flying, I now realize. And then you've got this, I mean, presumably it's a new person based on the description beside you, but we had this angry blonde lady in really uncomfortable heels, which she never took off.
I mean, I don't know whether she was angry.
I mean, we read her as angry.
We read her as angry, but I don't think she was angry.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, but also no one really had expressions. Like, so obviously this was made by the NYU Game Center Incubator. So it's clearly more proof of concept that was then also funded by like AMC, amongst others. But like, yeah, it was awk. The people were just a little too scary. Like when the guy in front of you like looked to his side, it really looked like he was peering like peering at you.
Yeah, well,
and you're like, oh, I don't like this at all, you creepy bastard.
Why is everyone on this airplane looking at me?
Yeah. The like what are they called? They're not stewardesses anymore, right? They're
flight attendant.
Flight attendant, thank you. My mind blanked. I didn't want to say stewardess, and I was like, shit, I can't remember the right term. The flight attendant, like, kind of floats up to you and says some shit, and then floats away because the animation's not quite there.
It's not like I'm walking through the plane, like.
Yeah, which, you know, if I played this on Halloween, I'd be like, ghost plane. But that's fine because obviously, like, most of this is like cute proof of concept meme game type thing. And like if that's where you cut corners, I'm okay with it.
I need to read this review. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Very good exclamation mark. But how do I get my food in flight? It says no upcoming scheduled service. Break. Actually, never mind. I got it figured out.
Okay,
Thumbs up.
that we should address that in a bit, because it sounds so. So when you think about a flight, right, the main interaction points are not when you get all the directions, because they just tell that sort of vacantly to everyone on the flight. It's like when they check your seatbelts, when they give you food, when you ring the buzzer. That's about it, right? So okay. Keep that in mind when you think about our experience. So I'm just going to narrate loosely how Ben, who apparently is just like my split personality because I'm the guy in the seat, and I just dealt with this game. But also, I have to say that it had, like, it said swipe to start. It really felt like this was originally designed as a mobile game. And like a lot of this is just click and mouse once and maybe click and drag, which again could be finger pointing. And it's not, there's a lot of like poor hitboxing, unfortunately, and misclicking, but also one of the only reasons I found this like not totally terrible was because I happen to have a giant ass screen. So like my big screen, right, in front of me, projecting the viewpoint of someone sitting in an airplane actually looks kind of one-to-one. So I felt like I was sitting in an airplane seat. But if I was on my phone, I'd be like, this is dumb real quick, because you're like, again, because it's like real-time spacing. Like your point of view is sort of top of the, like a couple inches above the top of the seat to like mid chest level. So if you imagine that on like 3 inches high screen, you're like, I can't really make a lot out. And again, you're having to interact really precisely with the things. Anyway, so first thing I do is notice my bag, click on it, it puts it in the seat beside me. And then I click on it and it opens it. And then they go on, and then the on-screen person's like, hey, maybe you should put your stuff away. Because everyone put your stuff away. And I was like, how? And I clicked on the thing and it closed the flap. Because it's like a messenger bag. And I clicked on it and it opened the flap. And the only thing I could do was take things out of the bag or close the bag. And then it's like, put your seatbelt on. And I was like, yes. Wait. No. Why don't I not do that? I can't put my bag away. Fuck my seatbelt. And like,
oh, you are the one passenger.
But like, it took us 20 minutes. Like, so it was a couple minutes of like us babbling about the game as you do in intros on streams and VODs and whatever. And then we just chatted, and it was very realistic. Cause like, if you're coming out of JFK, you're probably waiting for 20 minutes before you can taxi to the runway and then take off. I like that idea. But I also got really bored and like started poking things, like bringing my bag out. But then one of my biggest complaints is like, there's no repercussions for not if you are on an airplane and your seatbelt's undone and your bag is out and they say, don't do this. And then they do all the directions and then they don't animate the person coming by, be like, is your seatbelt done up, etc. And scold you for not putting away your bag, let alone the announcement goes, it tells you to put your bag away, and I can't put my bag away. It's like little things like that broke the quote-unquote immersion, but you also just made it feel more slapdash. Because it was like, oh, shit. I mean, I didn't know. I clicked my bag because I'm new in a game, and I click on a thing. And I was like, now I can't ever put it away. But also, that's really strange, because in an airplane, I would like, even if we were taken off, I would put my bag on the seat, grab my notebook, put the bag back under, because that's not my seat. Blonde lady who scares me would be pissed if I was just like, this is my own seat, like this is my seat now. And it was just like, oh, okay. And then there were no repercussions. Like We took off. My seatbelt was undone. Nothing. I thought maybe like, oh, if you do this, they'll like lurch you, and next time don't lurch or something, right? Or like throw your bag against the seat. No.
Like there wasn't even kind of a cross face from the angry woman sat next to us. It was like sweaty pits and vacant stares.
Yeah,
and that was it.
Yeah,
like she didn't even turn to you like, oh.
I mean, she did sort of once where we were chatting about her, and then Ben's like, "Wouldn't it be creepy if she just
literally talking about her.
Yeah, and Ben's like, "Wouldn't it be creepy if she just turned to you and gave you a death glare?" And as he's saying this, she goes, and of course she's not giving a death glare, but there's no animation. The only thing she does is blink.
Resting bitch face.
Yeah, she just blinks and then breathes.
Not even resting bitch face. Just kind of like vacant face. It was like, like she didn't even acknowledge we were there. She was just looking to the left.
Yeah. But like as with all games, you sort of interpret in your own mind, and so like we kind of had this rivalry. But then again, one of the things that was really great was so the other thing is the physics is just janky as all hell. So I pick up the because I'm just snooping, right? We haven't taken off. I'm bored. I do this. So like the coat hook, you can click it and it pulls out, and then it goes back in again. I wish I had a coat to hang on it. That'd be a nice little interaction on the game. But like I just fired off that a couple times. I'm like, actually, I admitted to Ben that like often if I'm like stuck, like we're taxiing for too long, I just play with the thing. Cool, doing the same thing. I'm on a flight. But then I grab the waste bag, and I pick it up. And I'm like, huh, this is weird. And then I just let go, and it just stays there. And I was like, that's weird. And Ben thought it was balancing on the seat, but it was just hovering. So then I like went to the side, and then like was like, how far to the right can I put this, and up, and then let go. And then it's like, now I can't see a weird, creepy lady's face because there's this floating puke bag.
That's one way to film it.
So anyway, I don't want to talk through the whole thing, but basically the things you can do are like you can read. So you've got you can look at the safety card, but you can't flip it, which was weird. And it's got this weird perspective that you like can't tilt it, but that's fine. You can open your bag, get a book, and it's an actual like book. Like it's a full book by some French guy, which is clearly like out of copyright. And you could like the whole book is there. You could read the thing. If you did the 5-hour flight, that's probably what you'll end up doing. And actually, I think that would be an interesting. If I was interested in that book, I would try it on that game.
There must be better ways too, especially if it's like public domain.
Yeah, you can
download
also
PDF.
Yeah, you can also grab your headphones and they're Bluetooth, and you can just connect Bluetooth to on-screen entertainment, which not accurate to the world, but I appreciate that's a good UI thing to do. It also, as soon as you put your headphones on, it cuts the airplane noise because airplane noise is just this generic drone sound, which after a while you're like, don't really like. Cool. Oh, right, I can just put my headphones on. You've got a pen and a notebook, which you could literally just open, and it's like a graph paper notebook, and you can just scroll away. One thing I did.
No, if they put like a crossword in it, or
wait for it.
Arrow word.
Wait for it, Lucy. So one thing I will say is because of like fixed angles and the way they're trying to like orient the pen, as you're drawing, the pen pivots to like where your mouse is. But obviously you are just drawing on the plane, and that makes like writing really weird because when you're used to writing with a mouse, you're like, okay, I have this thing and I just draw a straight line. But when the thing representing the straight line starts at like a certain like acute angle, and by the time you like draw the whole line, it has pivoted to like an obtuse angle from your point of view because that's the perspective, because you're drawing a long line. It is actually really hard to do straight, and there's no reason why they had to like make it all wobbly, except quote unquote realism. However, once I realized that you could write on things, later in the flight, opened up that book. It said It was a library book. I just crossed out library, wrote mine in really horrible mouse scrawl, and got an achievement for desecrating a book. So
Nice.
they still they clearly have stupid things you want to do. Like there's 30 achievements, and desecrating a book was one of them. But yeah, it's the other things you can do is the in-flight magazine is probably the most well-produced part of the game. It is like typeset and graphically designed exactly how an in-flight magazine is done. Like it starts with a message from the CEO, and it's got all these generic photos and like pablum articles, and they all just have a little too much white space in places. Like it's like your budget magazine, but in that magazine they have in the back a crossword, a Sudoku, and a Kakuro, which I don't know how to play. And we but oh my god, trying to do the crossword with the literal mouse pen made me feel like a 3-year-old. It was kind of awful.
And we didn't know many of the answers either. So
No, yeah, that didn't help. But like the first thing I did was like, I think horn, and then it was like N, because like the first 3 letters I was like, I'm not, nope, no, not doing that justice. But that's cool, right? Like you have to pen and paper, and you could do the Sudoku if you wanted. So
yeah,
all these interaction points sound neat. There's also so now I'm going to go on to the things that didn't work right. So like I talked about the mouse being awkward with the pen, but it's serviceable. But like in-flight entertainment, obviously you can't have real movies because that costs money. So they had like 3-4 different, I'm assuming out of copyright things. And there was a couple like 1930s movies about flying. And there was Flight to the Moon, the classic black and white film, one of the first earliest films. And then there was a 8-minute Bugs Bunny cartoon. And it's like, cool. Hey, Ben, let's watch some Bugs Bunny while we wait for this like to take off. And we do, but then we notice like halfway through, it's like, I was like, oh, this movie's like, this animation's so old, they haven't really synced up the like mouth movements to the audio. They must have just like generically animated, and that just sucks. And then like 30 seconds passes, like, oh no, now we're hearing the mouth movements and sound effects that make sense from 20 seconds ago.
Yeah, it was almost like the video was playing at 1 speed, but the audio was playing at 1.005 or something like that. Like it was just slightly off. That like 2 minutes in,
it got real bad.
It had split suddenly.
Yeah, and then
what's the worst film you've watched on the plane?
Oh, that's tough. Wait,
I think it has to be that film with Brendan Fraser.
The Mummy?
No, that's a good film.
Yeah,
with
okay.
With those
Alicia
furry
Silverstone?
animals. No,
Wait.
there's like these like chipmunks and
Alvin and the Chipmunks?
forestry. Forestry animals.
Yeah.
No, it's not Alvin.
No, Alvin and the Chipmunks was Jason Lee.
That was the guy from
Chasing Amy.
What is it? From that, is it? My Name is Earl.
Yeah,
that was
Jason
the guy
Lee. The ex made it big in Kevin Smith films.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about Brendan Fraser. Where it's like all these forestry animals are attacking him.
I don't know what
I think
the
that's the
fuck.
worst.
No,
Wait.
not a clue.
No, hold on a second.
That is the worst. Trust me, it
Wait.
exists.
No.
Put Brendan Fraser animals.
We are tangent central. Furry Vengeance. Furry Vengeance is a 2010 American comedy film. It stars Brendan Fraser, Ken Jeong, Oh my god, this looks awful.
I've never heard of
I
that.
have never heard of this. This is amazing.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's the worst.
I'm adding this to the list of bad movies I need to talk about.
Let's get back to airplane mode.
Sorry. Yeah.
So we can finish this.
Yeah. So anyway, so what ends up happening is I hit pause or stop or whatever to try and resync it, and then it ends up restarting the audio from the beginning, but the video from where I stopped it, and it became I interminable. Like, it was just like, nope, can't do this. Guess we're not watching movies on this flight because everything's out of sync and there's no way to stop it. Cool. I guess in-flight entertainment's out. The one thing that I enjoy about, like, because most of the time I fly, I'm like flying from like here-ish to Calgary-ish, like 8-hour plus flights kind of thing. And I love watching like bad international cinema. Like, I love watching like weird Asian action movies, or I catch up on Marvel films I haven't seen. Sometimes I watch like, you know, more emotional stuff, but usually it's like, all right, well, I'm never going to hear about these films outside of an airplane. So what is the dumb, like, because blockbuster films are there, but it's like, okay, well, I go home, I can probably find Thor 7 or whatever, but I'm never going to find this weird Asian heist movie ever again. So I'll watch that. But I've also found some real gems of cinema, because they get like the biggest films from other countries. So it's like, cool, good film, terrible film, I'll be happy because it'll be new, right? Either way, it'll be good, because I love bad movies and I love good movies. Anyway, so that's out. I now have my cell phone and I have a charger. So I grab the cell phone, grab the charger, and I can plug it into the USB slot. It's a little wonky, but the physics of the cords basically sucks. Same thing with the remote for the in-flight entertainment. Get on my phone, look through the pictures, and I'm like, edit. Add a mustache to a cat, because all the pictures of cats. Oh, that's a good meme. And then I couldn't find the thing. Turns out they just saved everything in the back. That's great. Set a new wallpaper. It's like, I'm phoning. This is neat, right? Like, I'm bored, I'm on my phone, I'm on a plane. And then I like open the podcast app, because we've gone through the Duolingo fake thing and a couple other things. But there's a AMC, there's a Walking Dead app on the phone. I'm like, this is why you sponsored it. Can I play a Walking Dead mobile game on this in this other game? That's crazy. Cool. Let me just check out the podcasting app. And then I start a podcast about electronic music, and it swipes, like, I click, it swipes down the like swipe menu where you can like turn on the torch and stuff. And then we can never unswipe that. So we can't stop the podcast, switch to a new thing. All we can do is mute the podcast or take our headphones off. We can turn on the torch, we could take pictures, but we're just stuck. We're just stuck with the menu open on a phone and no way to stop it. Now, normally this would be like an inconvenience, and like if the notebook stopped taking pen writing. However, the clever gamer designers that they are, the settings on the phone are the settings of the game, including exit. So when the phone locks up, you can't leave the game. So when we finally landed, and all the credits ran, and we're just sitting on the tarmac, there's no way to leave except Alt F4, because the phone locked up, because I dared to play one of the podcasts and like slightly click the top of the phone. Great. So we put the phone away, ignored it, played some games on the in-flight entertainment because we couldn't watch things. Solitaire, blackjack, worked as intended. Also, one of the things I do like, so there's these weird attention to detail things where, like, drawing on the notebook across the seam of the page causes it to go, like, strict line, break, strict line, because, like, if you try and just, like, scroll a line across a notebook, like a bounded notebook, you're going to miss the middle bits, because just, like, that's how notebooks work, right? You'd have to, like, concertedly, like, slowly go down into the seal and up. If you just quickly drew a stroke, because it dips in the middle, you would miss the middle bit. Neat idea. Very good execution there. But then all these other things don't make sense. The coolest thing on an airplane is eating the crappy food, right? who knows? Because one of the things in your bag is a packet of pills. And so it's like, I don't know what
Kind of pills.
I don't know. So Ben and I, so when I open up, Ben's like, huh, we should try, you should take them all, jokingly. I'm like, nah, I'll take 2. So I took 2. Nothing seemed to happen. And then then the in-flight entertainment broke. So I took 2 more. And then the lady comes on saying, we're about to start in-flight service. And then the whole fucking thing goes all blurry. And I pass out. And it goes black for like 30 seconds. And then we come to, and an hour has passed on the flight.
Pill?
Yeah, apparently we had sleeping pills, and that's a shortcut. So our like 2 hour, so our 2 hour plus taxiing game run was an hour plus taxiing. Like because it turns out basically we took 4 15-minute sleeping pills roughly, but we also missed all the interaction with the stewardesses, because every other time we hit the help button, it's like we can't do this right now. So I have no idea what that part is, because we like oopsed out of it, but also we couldn't leave the game when we landed, and it was all right. But again, like the chords on the game were really like physics bouncy, which was hilarious as jank. But when you start hitting other bugs, you're like, okay, you just didn't finish this game, right? When I can't leave the game because I had the audacity to use the phone for any other reason but exit, that kind of sucks. Also, I did some digging, and so like when you end the game, it gives you, so your reticle, which is like this big, turns orange on things you can like interact with, and it has the bathroom as interactable, but one of the Steam reviews was like, bathroom's not interactable. So I was like, oh shit, do we miss the only chance? Because I didn't notice that throughout the flight. And I thought, oh, did I miss the only chance to like get out of my seat? Turns out probably not. So kind of bad taste in like bugs. And ultimately, yeah, it's like there's like too much janky bugs to say this is a recommend. Also, like, sure, we got a code, but like they're charging £9 for this. It's, even if you wanted the exact meme of what it's doing, it's just probably not that, because again, you're not really getting those things, and things lock up. And another thing is there's a chat function which exists on flights, which I've always been confused by. But like your in-flight magazine says, oh yeah, to access the other side of the remote, just flip it and there's a keyboard. And you're like, cool. I hit the chat function. It's like, input some things. Who do you want to talk to? Do you want to bug someone? Input their seat number. But there's no way to flip the remote that we could figure out. Yeah. And the instructions in the in-flight mag were like, flip it. But I got the letter A once, and I had no idea how, because I couldn't see anything.
And it wasn't typing on the keyboard. Like, you explored a few different things that it may.
And so you're just like, okay, so there's a chat function. I want to harass my stupid neighbor. I can't. I guess that's just a thing they have there for like show, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe the hitboxes were so terrible that I just couldn't, because I clicked a bunch. And so like it's things like that where like and like picking up the book, I'm like, I want to put it in my bag so I don't forget it. I mean, the only thing you do is click vaguely outside of the area, and then it decides where to put it, kind of. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, I don't want it there. But also, like, I should be able to put my bag away. Like, these things where I think it's important to note that these are standard things you do on a plane, right? You grab your bag, you grab the thing, you put it back. And the fact that I can never put my bag back, and there's no repercussions via being told off or takeoff turbulence or whatever, it's just like, okay, these are really simple plane interactions. I feel like, again, like the corners were cut. And the dumbest part is, if this was for the AMC stuff, right, there was an app. I have no idea what it does, because phone locked up. Yeah. So I can't even see the AMC content. And if that's what you're doing, you should. So basically, I feel like it's so buggy, and if it is doing some weird fake tie-in thing, it definitely should be free. and it's not. Like £9 is a lot for a buggy, janky game that doesn't give you the minimum experience of what's going on. Like I said, syncing audio video is a big bug. You know, I'm fine with, I guess, pretending like you could flip it and have a chat and you didn't want to program chat functions, but maybe don't put that in. Sure, let's disagree on that. But then phone locking up, which other users on Steam reported as well. I mean, I did get a kick out of accidentally sleeping through the meal because of sleeping pills. That's funny. I get it, and I'm never going to play it again. So I'll never experience what food service looked like, but okay. But again, £9, like 3 maybe if it wasn't broken. I don't know. I had a good time, but if Ben wasn't there, I probably would have Alt F4'd well before. Also things like after the phone stopped working and like we passed out, we wake up again, suddenly I couldn't plug the phone in again. And it's like, well, I know how to do this. I did it before. Like, this is what I mean by like really weird bugs. It was just not consistent, right?
Yeah. Inconsistent was definitely the word. I mean, much fun was had by the two of us.
Oh yeah,
as we played through it, but I think that's kind of the extent of the game, essentially.
But I will say this other thing, which is I looked at some Steam reviews, and I'll just NoFlu says, according to my GPU temperature, I'm running Red Dead Redemption 2 while playing this. Also, PC makes more realistic airplane sounds than the game itself.
Wow.
So I think I lucked out, and I didn't have like big, like requirements overhead, but it sounds like it's also not optimized. Like a bunch of people said this type of thing.
Okay. Odd, very odd.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it would be that taxing on your machine.
Well, I mean, yeah, and then like people mentioned that like they paid attention to the airplane sounds, and like there's a 20-second loop, and you can, if you just listen, which we didn't because we were chatting, you can hear it switch, like loop back because it's not seamless. And like I didn't notice that, but also I wasn't really paying attention, and I had someone else in my ear, so I didn't have to listen. But if I had to listen to the airplane loop for 2 hours because I was trying to give this game like a good shake, that would have pissed me off. I don't know if that's true, but like the fact that like, multiple people are saying this, it's just like, I do think the production on the in-flight videos was cool. I like there's some interesting things going on. The other thing I was gonna say, what was the last thing I was gonna say? I had a thing and I totally lost it. If Ben hadn't stood up, I would have been like, yes, this. Shit. Well, I'll let Ben know that there's a shit moment at 1:57 on the stream. What was it? I feel like I'm just shitting on the game and I don't want to be that. My mind went blank on the good thing. That also sucks, but yeah, it's a game that just like I jokingly put in the Twitch description when I streamed it was like, we're playing this game, because I knew it was going to be something along these lines, but the jankiness and the bugginess made it even less like a game, because like I was fully prepared. So one of the nice things is sleeping pills jump you forward. So hour, 2 hour, 5 minute trip in the air, because it's actually 20-minute taxi, 2 hour 5 in the air, 10-15 minutes of credits while taxiing. Which again, I feel like if people pick the 5 hour 45-minute thing, giving them an extra like almost hour on both ends is kind of, I get that's how airplanes do it, but that's not ideal for people doing this thing. But yeah, I think it's just there's too much. There's just too many things that aren't optimized or like just not tested. And like I said, like I think it would have been real fun to like, yeah, probably not a good stream, but like if I was by myself, I would have like there was 4 podcasts, so you had 4 half-hour podcast episodes. I would have picked 1 or 2 and just listened to them and kind of zoned out. In the way that, like Lucy, you've said, you put Flight Simulator, MS Flight Simulator on autopilot and just zen, right?
Yep.
And like the graphics outside aren't great. Like the clouds are really generic, and when you land and take off, having come in and out of Halifax multiple times, there are way too many buildings around the airport. That's fine. I don't care that much. It's not about realism. Except it all looks real bad and janky. Like the roads are inexplicably white because they're clearly feeding off of some map. All of the buildings have like generic texture. And again, I could forgive that if there were other things, but like it's not even doing the straightforward airplane things right. Like actually what would be interesting is if it like gave me a prompt. It's like or it's like some sort of like, hey, you have things in your bag, but your bag is in the overhead compartment and you have to squeeze by someone. That's a lot of animation. Fine. Then at least let me put my bag and make me have to fuss with my bag at my feet and otherwise. Like that's what it is to be in the window seat and not put your bag in the overhead compartment. You have less legroom and you have to deal with that in and out thing. Put someone in the middle seat. Maybe on alternate runs there is, but I doubt it because just the way the middle seat just owned my bag for the rest of the flight. It's like, this feels like you wanted something easy, but also, yeah, again, it's like little things where it's like someone should scold the shit out of me. I like just left my seatbelt off for most of the flight on principle because it didn't seem to matter. And you're like, if there's anything on an airplane that matters is that if you don't have your seatbelt on most of the time, they're going to scold you, right? And maybe there's a nighttime mode with a blanket, but where you get scolded if you don't put the blanket over the thing. But I doubt it because they're clearly not checking. Yeah. So we had mild turbulence a couple of times, and it was just camera shake, but like nothing moved, right? There was no impact except the camera, and it would be fine if the other things were kind of in line, but that just gets added to a list when other things aren't. Like there's just no forgiveness on that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I was just like I had a good time, but also I didn't pay for it. Like if I paid for it, I'd be annoyed as shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that's it. I was going to do some...
Good place to finish with it.
Yeah, I was going to read some reviews, but I sort of touched on what they were saying, and I think I've just kind of started dumping on it instead of what I wanted to say was it was entertaining for us and there were some bugs, but don't buy it, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's fair. That's a fair point to make. I think it very much says that in the description of the game. It is like, this is sitting on a plane for the length of a flight and not doing very much apart from sitting on a plane. It sells itself kind of as it is, I think. But that is airplane mode.
Yeah.
Good news. I found a video, a HD video no less, of Furry Vengeance. That is full feature-length YouTube video that I don't think the studio even cares to take down because it's that bad a film. It's been up for 5 months. So
fair enough.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah. Good. Let's finish there this week. We'll talk about analyze, talk about the beers that we have drank. I'm going to very swiftly come in and just say that this Adroit Theory beer is fantastic. The Whiplash beer is very, very good as well. I've had 2 very good beers this week. I think the Adroit Theory picks it. It's just so well made. Everything flowed very, very well. Did not know this was 10%. The Whiplash gave me a little bit, let me know that it was higher. There was a little bit of that alcohol in there as well with that 8%. Whereas it's 10%. Adroit Theory, but Evangelion 13 Bardiel. There's no way you would tell this was 10%. It's hidden so well. And it just, the mouthfeel, the flavor, it's such a well-made beer. It might be out of some people's reach. It was like maybe 8-9 quid roughly. It's a beer from the States. It's from Adroit Theory, who are in Virginia.
Okay.
So you may not be able to get it, but it's very, very good. It's really, really good. and the Whiplash beer would have been a winner on most weeks, but this Adroit Theory is probably a winner almost every week. I think from what I've had.
Fair enough. That's
really good. Adel, you had the Festbier.
Yes.
And then a left-handed giant beer.
Yep. I like the Festbier. I think it's easygoing. I could have it almost any night. But I mean, that's sort of what it is. It's like a beer I would be happy with any time of the, like any time when I'm just like having a beer. But the Left-Handed Giant Plentiful Rains Black IPA with coffee, it did so much, but at the right level. Like I won't bother like go back and listen to me talk about it right on the go, because I think nothing has changed in my opinion of it. It's got such an interesting taste curve, and everything flows really well from each other, but you have these different moments with the different pieces of the beer, and it never overpowers, but it does, like I said, it does the IPA thing and the coffee thing without being like strong in your face IPA or a coffee beer so well that like. And like I said, like I just finished it a few minutes ago. Like it's just a beer that you could have three of, and or like in the same amount of time have one of, and like just slowly sip it depending on what you want. Like it's really versatile in that way, and just so well rounded. And in a way that normally when you have, like I said, coffee based beers, they tend to like overstate the coffee, and this is just like, no, you're gonna notice that coffee, but that's because like nothing we're doing is overextending. It's great. So it's that one.
It's good that we're getting that coffee flavor in lighter beers, in IPAs and things. I think Lucy, a couple of weeks ago, you had a like a black IPA, didn't you, where the coffee was
overtone,
kind of through, and actually that was nice and light, and yes, you were getting all of the flavors. It wasn't sort of too overpowering
as well, like coffee beans, Ethiopian coffee beans as well, I think. Yeah.
It's interesting that the coffee beers, I think, of note are, at least in the last few weeks, are lighter sort of IPA styles rather than big stouts or something like that.
It's stout season now. Bring them on.
Absolutely. The next few weeks are just going to be pure stoutage.
Stoutage.
I'd imagine. Good. That's us this week. That's all the beers we've drank. That's all the games that we have each been playing. If you'd like to get hold of all of us, you can do so at TankedUpCast, either on Instagram or on Twitter. You can go to outoflives.net as well. So look at all of the stuff that we are producing. A video of Adel's play of Airplane Mode will go up at some point on the YouTube and is accessed through outoflives.net as well. There are articles, there's other stuff. Kyle had a look at the first episode of The Mandalorian, which dropped last week. He bashed up an article super quick, so that is there to look at. I'd imagine watch the first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian first before you read his thoughts.
Yeah, he did mention that it was spoilerific. Yes.
So do that. I am at Nova_47 if you want to see old posts of the last of the 2 photo mode things that I have been taking, or historic posts. Lucy is
Juicy Loose 9.
Good. Yes. Message her for stuff. Whether you are still waiting for the new Hollow Knight game, because it is now.
Quick PSA. Forgot to mention it earlier. The new game from State of Play is out. The guys who made Kami. Inks and stuff like
cool.
That. It's sort of a narrative kind of adventure game.
Nice.
Yeah. I shall talk about it more next week because I'm only about a third way through, but it seems very promising.
Perfect. Nice.
At the moment.
Adel.
Me?
How do people talk to you?
They open their mouths and flap. Yeah, no, sorry. You can reach me at the Omniarch. That's TheOmniarch, or on Twitch. I'm the _Omniarch. But I don't do much gaming stuff there. I mostly do gaming stuff here. do weird productivity streams. But yeah, let me know what you think of the beers and games, or things you want us to try. So one of the things that we have started is First Look Tuesdays, which is noon British Standard Time. Well, British time, whatever, if it's Standard or Daylight.
UTC.
Greenwich Mean Time, mate.
Yeah, GIMT. There's so many names for the same bullshit. But yeah, so 12 o'clock on Tuesdays. It's a new game every week. I spend 2 hours trying to dive into it. Like we said, this week it was airplane mode. Last week it was give us a Cthulhu adventure. Those will usually turn into VODs. But like, yeah, come join and tell me whether I should harass the lady beside me with a waste bag.
The answer to that is always no.
Hey, I mean, the camera was opened, some photos were taken, and we very swiftly stopped that kind of menace element of this game.
Like it went from I'm testing the camera, but also she looks so creepy. I should capture this. I wonder if it'll like let me see these captures later. To I'm now just taking a picture of a stranger on a flight, and even though it's not a real person, this feels weird.
Yep, absolutely.
Airplane mode.
Just watch
This feels
Fairy
weird.
Vengeance instead.
Yeah.
Good. So that is us this week. We have been tanked up. Go to all of those places to chat to us and hang out with us. Come to our Discord. You can search for Out of Lives Network on Discord. Come and chat to us. Do that. It's fun. We're always there. It's where we inhabit the internet mostly. But for another week, we've been tanked up. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra, good night.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net